It's already game on for the 2028 elections, and the Democrats are trying to figure out what to do about it. And one of them is Pete Buttigieg, that has been doing the rounds with some interviews, and well, it has gone exactly as you'd expect. In this case, he was asked a question about, can boys compete with the girls? How does that work? Well, watch Pete Buttigieg about answering if boys should be able to invade girls' sports, and go on a whole roundabout rant to basically say he supports it. And, well, we're going to watch the clip first and then ask questions later.
When President Trump says something like no boys and girls sports, which is a phrase that they use, it sounds like you're not signing on to that.
I think that chess is different from weightlifting, and weightlifting is different from volleyball.
Okay, right out of the gate, you know that when somebody asks a question, the answer should be as simple as possible. You can have a preamble, you can have an introduction, you can acknowledge the question. There are so many ways to, maybe you want to ease in your answer. But the moment that you notice that the answer has nothing to do with the question, is already a yellow flag. And we could say that it's almost a full red flag. I don't like that kind of stuff. The question is, when President Trump says something like no boys and girls in girls' sports, which is a phrase that they use, it sounds like you're not standing onto that. What is your stance on that? And he begins saying, I think that chess is different from weightlifting. Well, there are reasons, by the way, that is that requires a video in itself. There are reasons why there are genders in weightlifting. It's like weightlifting for boys and girls, and there is chess for boys and girls. Also, there's a reason for that. And, well, let's watch the rest of his answer.
Chess is different from weightlifting, and weightlifting is different from volleyball, and, middle school is different from the Olympics.
Okay, so far so good, right? This is a filler. This is a non-answer so far. Bad idea.
So that's exactly why I think that we shouldn't be grandstanding on this as politicians.
Politicians, Democrats specifically, have been grandstanding and defending the right for men to invade women's sports, to invade women's locker rooms, to invade women's spaces everywhere. You have been doing this. This is the problem with these people. They have built this huge monster. They have nurtured it. They have fed it. And now they're trying to pretend it doesn't exist. It's the same with the Gavin Newsom's interviews. When he's asked the same question, he doesn't know where to put his face. It's like, we need to, when Newsom starts with the hands doing this, the thing that he does, and begins the Newsom dance, Pete Buttigieg is no different. They don't know. They are certain. They have no doubt that is one of the reasons why they lost the 2024 election. Is that simple? Because every time I asked that same question on X to anybody who wanted to answer, do you agree with the men in women's sports? Nobody. No Democrat, no Biden fanatic, no people voting for Kamala could answer that. That is the problem. They don't stand for that. That is not even an 80-20 issue. That is a 90-10 issue. 95-5 issue, we could say.
We should be empowering communities and organizations and schools to make the right decision.
We should empower communities and organizations and schools to make the right decision. The question is, what is the right decision? What is your stance on that? This is a complete gray area, because we don't know what this guy stands for. That is a very big problem, because you have to make a stand. You have to make a choice. Do you approve men in women's sports? Yes or no? And he knows for a fact that if he says no, it's gonna be scorched earth for him from the Democrat Party. It's gonna be scorched earth from Reddit and the liberals. It's gonna be really bad. But at the same time, he cannot say yes, I approve it, because then he is going to lose all the support from the moderates. Yeah, because there are liberals, there are Democrats, there are people who vote blue that are moderate. They do exist, and they don't want men in women's sports. So, again, you wanted insanity. You created the insanity monster. You nurtured it. Oh, come on. Who's a good boy? Who's a good insanity monster? You fed it and transformed in this Godzilla of a problem. Now you have to lie in your bed. And this is wonderful to see. There are other questions, like Democrat Pete Buttigieg says he never saw Biden's cognitive decline. He chalked up his incoherency to just being tired. Oh, yeah, of course.
There are also Republicans alleging that you and others in the administration did not say all you knew about President Biden's condition, how his age has affected him over time.
That's not true. In my case, at least, I told the truth, which is that he was old. You could see that he was old. And also, when it came to my ability to do my job and have my boss, my president, support me in that job, I always got whatever I needed from him from the Oval Office.
Okay, well, if you say that he was old, then explain me in, simple terms, how do you support somebody who has obvious, signs that he's old? How do you support that he will be running again? I mean, you might say that there's no problem there's no cognitive decline. Let's pretend for a moment that there was no cognitive decline, that he was just being old. Do you think that it makes sense that if he's showing signs of being old, of running a second time, of being able to, control the nukes? Do you think that makes sense? These people don't know, and we are going to keep asking those questions and making them uncomfortable for years. And I've told you this, and this is very important. If any of this mofos, if any of these people want to, I'm going to be moderate again, or we're going to be a centrist, or maybe they want to become Republican or something, or conservative, whatever you want to call it, there should be a moratorium of 10 years before we believe anything that comes out of their mouth. 10 years minimum. After 10 years, if they exercise common sense for 10 years, then we can consider what they say. Never before that.
You never had a moment before that famous presidential debate where you worried about whether he was all there?
There are moments where I thought, he's looking tired today, or where I noticed that he was aging. But there was never a moment where I thought, this decision, this policy, or this process is going worse or is wrong because of the fact that he's old.
This is the reason they're going to lose again. They need to come clean. They have to be, for once, say, hey, we messed up with this. We effed up big time with this. This is something that should have never happened, and every single one of them is pretending it never happened. But my idea is that we're going to see more and more, displays like Hunter Biden interview, Kamala's book that is coming out. That book from Kamala, I'm going to make a video about Kamala going out with a book, because as Hillary did, when you make this campaign and you lose the election, you have to write a book. And Biden also have a book coming. I don't know why. Nobody's going to read that crap. We're going to be commenting on that. There's another clip that I want to, one last clip that I want to comment, and it's this one. Trump is appointed incompetent people to serve in the government. These are actual words said by Pete Buttigieg. Let's see what he has to say about this.
First, it's that when you have an autocrat in power, he can get away with appointing incompetent people over very important things in our lives. So right now we have the Secretary of Defense in charge of defending the American people, who was accidentally texting military strike information to journalists. We have the person in charge of American public health, who is a quack who doesn't believe in medicine, and now measles is on the rise in America.
We can disprove both things, but we are running out of time today. I'm not going to do it. I already did in a couple videos, not only here, but also on my Bad Language Guy channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you like the Power Pundit so this channel can grow, and I will keep exposing actual quacks and hacks like this guy. And, well, what can I say? We're going to have a lot of fun doing this. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Remember to like and subscribe so we can grow here. Much love and bliss.